This is the new DJI Osmo Action 6. Yes, I purchased it with my own money. No, this is not a sponsored video. And as someone who loves their Action 4, I've had this for a few years, I'm going to tell you exactly what's new, what I love, what I don't love, and is that macro lens any good? Plus, loads more. So let's get straight into it. Hey, welcome to the video. I hope you enjoyed those shots there coming from the Action 6. They look pretty good, right? Now, the Action 4 was probably one of my favorite little cameras of all time. It's the camera that I take with me pretty much everywhere I go. On every holiday, I take it snorkeling, surfing, kayaking, and pretty much on any sort of adventure trip. The reason for that is just so easy. It's one of those cameras that you can kind of pass it on to anyone. All they have to do is hit that little record button and there's nothing they can really mess up. As long as they can aim it right, you're going to get great footage coming from this camera. Now, I skipped the Action 5 as I didn't really see a big enough image quality jump from the Action 4. But when I saw that the Action 6 was launched, I purchased it right away. The question is though, will I be keeping it or will I potentially be sending it back? Well, first of all, let's take a closer look at the camera and everything that's new. The design of the Action 6 is very similar to the 4 and 5, but it's very slightly bigger. But it actually weighs the same, well, within 2 grams. It's 2 grams heavier, but not anything you'd notice. The screen size is also increased from my Action 4, similar to the Action 5, and the side drawers now have a new action to them, which definitely makes them a little easier to open, especially with gloves on. The base of the camera still has the magnetic mount that we really love, but now you can magnetically mount this both ways round. Before you had to kind of line it up with the DJI logo facing out. Now it works both ways around, and that saves a ton of time when you just want to get recording. The battery is still the 1970 milliamp hour battery from the 5 with similar enough battery life. The camera internals have had the biggest upgrade. It's actually the first action camera with a variable aperture, which means the lens opens and closes much in the way that a large mirrorless lens does, like on the Sony camera that I'm using right now. This has an f2 to f4 aperture, which means we should get much better detail in low light. And I'll of course be doing a full test on that later in the video. It's also got a new 1/1.1 inch square CMOS sensor, and this means we no longer have to record in vertical or portrait to get the right shot. You can film in this new square mode, which always means you have the right aspect ratio, no matter which way round the camera is. It also means you no longer have to film twice. So before you could, film like that and you'd want to film like that for the social media version. Now you can repurpose any video content for 16:9 for say YouTube or 9:16 for Instagram stories. The camera also has built-in storage, 50 gigabytes this time, which I honestly think is a real plus. It gives you around 2 hours of recording time, which I think for a lot of people is pretty much all they'll ever need. But of course, you can still plug in a micro SD card should you need one. There's dual OLED screens, front and rear, which are pretty much the same as prior models. A big jump from the Osmo Action 4, but from the Action 5, not a huge leap there. They've preserved the 4K recording up to 120 frames per second and waterproofing up to 20 meters without any housing. So if you've watched the channel, you'll know that I like to use DLOG M and color grade my footage just to get the best out of this camera. But I think it's always good to show what the normal picture profile and the inbuilt mic sounds like on this camera. So that's what I'm doing now. The settings I've got on right now is just normal picture profile. I've turned the sharpness down to -2 and the noise down to -2. I always do that, I think it looks a lot better. And it's the inbuilt mic just on standard. So we'll walk around, we'll get some shots, and we'll see what this normal picture profile looks like. On camera at least, it looks pretty good. I've brought you down to the beach because I think this is a good test of that internal microphone and the color science of the camera in normal mode. Because we have the constant noise of the waves, you get an idea of how well the kind of slight standard noise cancellation works, and the wind as well, because it's not a super windy day today, but there is a mild bit of wind going on, which I'd say is kind of average. So it gives you an idea of what it sounds like and what it looks like with this normal picture profile. Now, if the internal microphone is anything like the Action 4, it's going to be pretty good. And I was always super impressed with the Action 4's built-in microphone. And to be honest, that's one of the reasons why I love this camera, because even with the DJI Pocket 3, my Sony cameras, you really do need to take external microphones because you're trying to do a really good job when you film. That's why you use those sort of cameras. This camera, or the Action 4 before it, was what I would always take on holiday. You know, if I was just doing a little walk around a town, trying to get some nice holiday videos without much hassle, this is what I liked about this camera, is that you didn't need to attach lenses, ND filters, microphones, and have this entire crazy setup. You just have the square camera, you can pop it in your pocket, you can give it to any of your friends, and this is how it looks. Now, the sun is facing that way, it's actually behind a cloud at the moment, but I just wanted to see what this normal picture profile looks like. Obviously it's going to look better with the sun facing my face. Okay, so we have now switched to DLOG M 10-bit, and I've attached the DJI Mic 2 wireless microphone. So let's talk about these two things. So the image you're seeing right now is color graded. I'm using one of the Editor's Keys LUTs, but let's turn it off and you can see now that the footage when you film in DLOG M looks grey, just like this. Now, you do get an official DJI LUT that you can use, which is basically going to transform your footage back to how it should look. I always think the 10-bit DLOG M tends to look better than the normal picture profile, but the caveat is that you have to spend more time editing your footage. So let me know what you think. I'll try to put some side-by-sides on now so you can see. And then the second thing we've changed is the microphone. As I say, we're using the DJI Mic 2. Again, another fantastic thing with this camera is that you can use the DJI Mic 2s and upwards, the DJI Mic Minis, the new DJI Mic 3s, and they work flawlessly. They just work with the camera. You don't need to plug in a receiver, plug in cables. You just pair them once, turn them on, and they work. It's as easy as that. I believe the DJI Mic 3 can actually pair up to 4 microphones. I've got the Mic 2, no plans on changing it because it works pretty great in situations like this. But just to give you back-to-back look there at what the new image profile looks like. I know a lot of you want to see these low light tests, so let's get outside and test the low light capabilities of the Action 6. Okay, so it is extremely dark. I can barely see. There's just street lights on, and I've got the camera in the square aspect ratio, 4K 25 frames a second. So what I want to do is I want to walk around town and test out the low light capabilities of the new Osmo Action 6. So let's go take a look. Now what's crazy to me is that as I'm walking around, there's not many house lights on, as you can see, but just the odd street light, on the camera at least, makes it look like it's quite well lit. So I'm imagining this is going to be very, very noisy because it is so badly lit tonight. You gotta give it away, give it away, give it away to the ones you love.
So it is very, very cold. Sorry if it's very, very windy as well. So that was just in normal mode. I'm next going to try it in the super night mode, I think it's called. Let's put that on and try that out. Okay, so this is super night mode, and I can already see on the screen it looks very, very bright. I don't know if that means it looks better. Sometimes with these kind of artificial modes, it can actually make things look a little worse because it introduces a lot of digital noise and other aspects. On screen at least, it looks pretty good. Regular mode.
That you can always trust. Lord, let your love and kindness grow in each of us. Honey, healing magic, goodness from above.
F2. F4.
We gotta give it away, give it away, give it away to the ones you
Variable mode.
Okay, so looking at that low light footage there, I just wanted to talk about it, jump in, because I've now seen the footage that I recorded there. So first off, I'm actually very, very impressed about the jump we've now got in low light. On the screen, it didn't look all that amazing. Now getting it back, you can see the footage does have a little bit of noise here and there, but it's hard to describe to you how dark it was. Those streets really had the odd street light. Right, there was no other lights around, so it was very, very dark to me. On camera, and when I'm watching it back, it looks quite bright. So there is a little bit of noise there, but for an action camera, I'm actually really, really impressed. The super night mode, I wasn't that impressed with that because I think it kind of wrecks the stabilization a bit and you get those kind of like jittery lights. So it's there if you need it. It does work, I guess, as advertised, but I would personally stick to DLOG M and just keep it in that. I think the low light looks much better just with regular shooting. I don't think you need that super low light mode. So why don't we put these two cameras side by side? Let's go out with the Action 6 and the Action 4 and take a look at what the footage looks like side by side.
So I thought I'd come out and test the Action 6 against the Action 4, and I was debating whether to come out today because it's a bit grey and dull, as you can see, but sometimes this is the best time to test a camera like this because it's slightly low light and you'll sometimes notice a bit of noise on skin tones in the background. So what do you think? The Osmo Action 6 is on my right, the Osmo Action 4 is on my left. I'll mark it, of course, on the screen. The sound is coming from the DJI Mic 2. What do we think? We'll do a few further tests today. And as I say, actually quite good light for testing this out. Now, these sort of action cameras don't look the best in light like this, I find. But with that new sensor on the Action 6, will this improve things to a whole new level compared to the Action 4? Now, some of the test footage that I've seen so far, I honestly haven't seen a huge difference between the Action 6 versus the Action 4. I'm quite surprised how good the Action 4 is. And I didn't go for the Action 5 because I thought the Action 4 looked better. So I'm still debating whether I should even keep the Action 6, maybe sell it and keep the Action 4, or switch over. I think I'll get a better idea after all of these tests.
So looking back at that footage. What do you think? Let me know in the comment section. Do you think there is a huge difference between the two cameras? Now, let me tell you what I think. It's hard, right? When I first put the footage side by side, I couldn't really see much different. And then I was watching it back again and I was pixel peeping, I was kind of looking at different areas. And I think that it's tough. There is a different difference. The quality is better on the Action 6. There's definitely a little bit more detail there because it allows a little bit more light in. But I still think the Action 4 looks good, even though this is better. Do you know what I mean by that? It's a tough one because I love the Action 4. I don't think it looks bad at all in bright sunlight. The Action 6 just takes it up maybe a tiny notch, but not, I don't think it's the leap that we're all expecting, but it's still a leap nevertheless, just a very, very small one. But what do you think? I'd like you to be the judge of this. Action 4 versus Action 6. What do you reckon? And because the tough thing is now, I was looking on DJI's website, this camera is now about £190. So it's a very, very cheap action camera. And when you compare that to the price of this, which is still relatively cheap, I think, for a brand new action camera, but budget-wise, this is very cheap now and delivers quite similar footage, quite similar. But again, let me know what you think. Now, one thing the Action 6 has that the Action 4 doesn't are a few film looks. So this is really, I think, taking some cues from some other cameras out there, but this essentially allows you to add a film look when you're filming. So these look kind of okay. I did a few test shots, tried them all out. What's nice is that you can adjust the kind of like the intensity of those shots. So you can have them on 100, you can take them all the way down to about 20-30%. I actually think they look slightly better when they're on the lower end. And even though I think they look good, they're not something I would personally use for one reason, and it's because it bakes that look into your footage. So if you say do an entire video and then you get back and then you think, oh, that looks too blue, unless you're going to color grade that out, you're stuck with that footage. So what I prefer to do is use the Editor's Keys DJI Action LUT packs. I'll put a few LUTs on now, and just to be completely honest, we make these LUTs here at Editor's Keys, so this is a self-promotion here, shameless plug. But check out how these LUTs look over the footage right now. And again, the beauty of the LUTs, and you don't have to get them from us, but please do, is that LUTs can be adjusted. So you can film with the camera, you can put on DJI's own conversion LUT, so it looks normal, and then you can play around with the footage. And then if you want that kind of vintage look or that filmic look, you can add another LUT on, and it's not going to damage the original footage. You can still adjust the original footage time and time again. And you can adjust the LUTs much more than you can from like a pre-built-in LUT on the camera. Now, as I say, it's not a bad thing. I'm glad they're here. I think for some people who are just doing holiday videos and they just want a specific look, they want it to look softer, for example, this is really, really nice. But if you're a medium to pro filmmaker, I'd say, I would recommend not using them and then adding on your own LUT or color grading when you come to edit the footage.
So the next thing I want to try out is this little macro lens that you can buy. Now, it costs 140 quid, which is quite expensive, but it should allow you to get nice macro close-up shots of plants or little objects in your office that you want to get. And it potentially, why I'm interested in it, is that it should be able to add a little bit of background bokeh, a little bit of background blur. So I'm going to put it on now and we're going to see what difference it makes compared to the shot we're getting now with the standard lens. So let's put it on and test it out. We've got the macro lens on the camera now. I've just removed the standard lens that comes with the camera. And are we seeing a big improvement in background blur? What do you think? I'll try to put up a side by side here. One thing you have to be wary of when you use these macro lenses is that the focus and distance changes. So I may be in focus there, I may be in focus right here. You really have to play around with the perfect positioning so that you don't end up filming all day and being out of focus. So that's one thing I'm really interested in. Now I've actually realized it actually changed my horizon balancing settings. So it's actually putting on a wider angle view there. So now I've changed it back so we are on the D-warp setting, which I have before. Does this look any better? Has this improved the quality? I wanted to jump in and show you this before we now do the close-ups of some leaves and foliage that I can find around in Pemberley Park.
A shame, think something new under the sun. You can't take back them things you already done. help. But still you try.
Now actually, even on the screen there, when I was doing some close-ups of those leaves, I could see that the background was quite out of focus, which is what you would expect with a macro lens. So if you are the kind of person who maybe is doing food shots, or you are getting nature, things like that, this could be quite good because it is going to elevate your shot a little bit more. Now for me, I'm not really a close-up macro lens shooter. Obviously I do a lot of vlogging, but I don't know if I'd spend 140 quid just for a slight bit more background blur. Okay, and now we're back on the standard lens. Probably a little bit less background blur.
So much of your life scheming and trying to get over.
Okay, so that macro lens, what you may notice is that I don't have it on my camera. I've actually already sent it back and I'm doing a full video about that macro lens. So I'm not going to say too much about it here, but if you want to see that video, check out the link on the channel. But if I'm honest, I was a little disappointed with the macro lens for £140. In some ways it delivers the ability for you to record closer and get a bit of background blur. But as you can see from my footage when I was watching it back, I thought I was in focus. I even used the app to check I was in focus, but it's extremely hard to get yourself in the perfect position where you're completely in focus and the background's out of focus. You end up looking very soft on camera, and as you're walking around, moving around, it drifts in and out of focus when you have it on the person mode. So for me, as I mentioned in the full video, it doesn't get close enough for macro. It's not good enough for the person view. For some people, it might be right. But anyway, watch that full video about the macro lens. And let's get on to the next topic.
Something new we have on the Osmo Action 6 is the ability for a 2x lossless zoom. What does that mean? Essentially, it's a crop into the sensor. So it's not the same as just getting your footage and zooming in 100% in, say, Final Cut or Premiere Pro. This crops into the sensor, which isn't the same again as an optical zoom, but it does mean you get a higher quality 2x effective zoom. So let me show you. We're here at St. Michael's Mount. This is what it looks like on a 1x zoom. Let's change it to 2x.
Okay, so let's start rounding everything up. You've seen a lot of footage now coming from the Action 6. Now, I'm going to be using this, of course, over the next few months, and I'll do a lot more videos showing you how to color grade, showing you the best settings for this camera. But over my last couple of weeks with the camera, what do I think? And am I keeping it? Do I think it's a worthy upgrade of the from the 4? Well, first of all, I still love the 4. I think it's just a great camera. It's always been great, and I think it was ahead of its time at the time. Now, the Action 6 is certainly no worse. It's a better camera than the Action 4. And I think because I skipped the 5, I am going to keep the Action 6. It is a little bit better in low light, and that's good for me when I go snorkeling, because even under the water, under the sea, that is technically classed as low light. So that means I'm going to get much better underwater footage. If I want to use it as the sun's going down, fantastic. I'm not going to probably use it in super low light situations, but just, on those holidays where it's getting to sunset, I think it's going to look better. Bigger screen, better battery life, that's all great. And the one reason which is making me keep this, and I think if I didn't have it on this camera, would I keep it? It's that 1/1 inch sensor with the ability to record that square aspect ratio, because that means that I can do one video and I can get it into Final Cut, I can get it ready for 16:9, I can repurpose it for portrait. I don't have to think about doing a portrait mode. And especially here at Editor's Keys, when we're filming at trade shows and we want to, use our footage again and put it on socials, you end up cropping in so much, it kind of ruins the footage. I just love that you can do that with this camera. And for me, because of, my workflow, how we film things here at Editor's Keys, how I film things for even my own personal videos, that's quite a big thing for me. Now, the question you need to ask yourself is, how do you use your camera? Are you just using it for holidays? Because, you can still film in portrait and landscape. Is that a big deal for you? I think if that's not a big deal for you, if you never use your camera in low light, if, money is a concern, the Action 4 is still a great camera at a great price. But if you want the best action camera that's out at the moment, with great microphone capabilities, with the ability to add that macro lens if you want it, with a nice big screen, with DLOG M 10-bit, I mean, this, honestly, it has to be the camera to go for. It's the camera that I'm starting to recommend to everyone, because a lot of people ask me about what is the best starter camera, and our phones are so good now that I'm starting to debate that middle area. Like you can film really good video on an iPhone right now, or the latest Android devices. So what are you using your cameras for? If it's professional use, then get a mirrorless camera. Don't even think about getting an action camera at all. If you're going on adventures, if you're biking, if you're doing car videos, if you're going on holidays, this is the camera to get. You can drop it. You can take it in the sea. You can pass it around to friends and family. They just hit record and you get really great looking video out of this. So it's a big plus for me. It's not perfect, but you know what? Just like the Action 4, I do love this little camera. So thanks for watching. Again, if you want to see the videos on how to get the best looking footage from this camera, the best settings, we're going to do a LUT video on this. We're going to do some tests against the Action 4 and some other cameras, maybe the Pocket 3. And if you want to know more about that macro lens, check out that video. Give us a like, give us a subscribe. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.